You got questions going out of your mind. Someone with answers now that's hard to find. Like the what and the why and the how stuff works, or just where to go to avoid all the jerks. She's Gear Abby, Gear Abby, Gear Abby, advice that doesn't suck. Gear Abby.
Hello there, my outdoorsy friends, and welcome to Gear Abby, where we tackle the controversial, weird, obscure, and taboo topics that other outdoor podcasts refuse to touch. I'm outdoor educator and writer Shawnté Salabert, and I'm here to answer your burning questions about our relationships with outdoor people, products, places, and pastimes. And I want them all because remember, there are no dumb questions, just smart advice. Well, here's how it works if you're just joining us, if you've forgotten, if you've had a temporary lapse in your own sanity like I have. You're going to send questions to deargearabby@gmail.com. I'm going to answer a couple each week here on the show because that's why it exists. So as always, joining me today is my partner in gear, the producer of Gear Abby, and a guy who is the Michael Jordan of podcasting since he just canceled his own podcast, The Rock Fight, when it was at the top of its game. Colin True.
Yeah, I think that's an apt comparison, Shawnté. I like to think of myself as just an excellent podcaster, the best there ever was, the greatest of all time, perhaps.
Shot
my shot.
And it seems like a lot to put on your own shoulders, Colin.
It is. It's a big burden to carry. But luckily for everybody else, I'm up to the task.
Yeah. Well, how is it now that you're semi-retired from podcast life?
It's quiet.
It's quiet. Do you just sometimes talk into your microphone just because?
I just come in and close the door.
Hello.
I'm like, hey, welcome to the Rock Fight, everybody. No, it's nice. It's
you
nice.
Just play the Rock Fight theme song for yourself
over
sometimes?
and over and over again.
Is it your running? That's all that's on your running mix?
That's
it. Did you ask Chris to do many remixes of it?
I could now. I should say, hey, we need to repurpose it. We need a new use for it.
Oh man. Well, we have a mailbag. I love a little mailbag.
Our whole show is a mailbag. What are you talking about?
Just, as that came out of my mouth, I was thinking about that. But
yes, I'm aware.
We have a non-questioning mailbag. We have a statement. Gear Abby statement.
Love that. We should get more of those. Please send in just statements, folks. That'd be great.
Send it only if they're nice, though.
deargearabby@gmail.com.
That's right. That's me. It's I. So we got an email from listener Phil in response to the recent episode where we talked about sleeping quilts.
Is this Tacoma Phil?
I don't know where this Phil is located.
Oh, okay.
I have no knowledge of that. This is Phil.
Okay.
Who says, just listen to the most recent pod and I had to dig in for a minute. As an engineering nerd, the idea that R value is a random number was a bit annoying to me. It seems
Probably weren't the only one, Phil.
Right? But Phil also says it seems that used to be the case, but in 2020, they developed a standardized testing for sleeping pad R value, and now those numbers are more apples to apples. And then in parentheses, it is called the ASTM standard F3340-18.
Yes, okay.
Phil did not make that up. But you know what? Listener Phil is correct. There is some standardization now with a few caveats. Namely, not all brands use this. Now, all of the big guys are using it, so, okay. But any of those ones you're buying on Amazon or not, they're not going to be adhering to this ASTM standard. Sorry to tell you that. Also, there is still large variance between how it actually feels to sleep on pads of the same R value. That isn't some sort of specific thermostat number that I'm going to lay on here and I'm going to feel exactly this comfortable. So that is something to keep in mind, is that you should always test, think about your sleep system as a whole. That's just, Phil's right. I want to give you that, Phil. We will always give people their due when it is due. So, yeah.
Well, I think a lot of this stuff is largely subjective, right, in terms of how it applies to you.
I mean, so.
Right, because even
how it applies to me personally.
Well, maybe when I was at Polar Tech and we were making fabric and there's all these ASTM standard and tests and things like that, and the different way you measure the insulation value and the breathability. And it's like, listen, but then you talk about the engine you're wrapping it around and how is that person going to react to it, right?
Engine.
So it's, yes.
Wait, is that some sort of insider technical speak?
You are the engine, right? You're the one producing heat. And as you have said many times in this podcast, prolific
right.
sweater, Shawnté
I am.
Salamaire.
It comes with a lot of heat, baby.
Right? Different than, the person who maybe doesn't sweat so much and runs a little cooler. So, you can say you can standardize it, but it's still going to come down to trying a bunch of shit out and seeing which one you like best at the end of the day.
That's my general philosophy on life. Just try a bunch of shit out and see what you like best. All right, Colin, what do you have for us today? Let's kick things off.
All right, we're going heavy to begin with today, Shawnté.
All right, I'm into it. Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Dear Gear Abby, I'm having a hard time right now figuring out what to do. I keep watching everything that's happened in Minnesota with ice, and it's so awful. I know this isn't really a outdoor question, but hear me out. I've seen outdoor brands post about everything happening, and there's always people in the comments saying things like, oh, keep politics out of the outdoors. The tone was mine. I just inserted that.
But it's the correct tone.
Thank you. And I'm embarrassed to say that I used to feel that way too. But I mean, look at how this administration pushed to open the area around the boundary waters, also Minnesota, to mining. That was the first place I ever got to canoe, so this feels personal in a way, but also people are part of the outdoors and no one should feel unsafe outside.
Amen.
Agreed. Anyways, what can any of us people who love the outdoors and who want all people to feel safe being outdoors, which isn't happening now, to do? First, support people in Minnesota, and second, be more active stakeholders in making things better in general. Signed, a middle-aged paddler and hiker and hunter who gives a shit.
Wow, that is one of the best emails we've ever gotten.
You want to just go right to what's in my pack and just blow right by this? Or
No, we don't. Yeah, no, that's good question. Next, no, middle-aged. I guess I'm just going to call you middle-aged paddler. Thank you so much for emailing. This is a really thoughtful question. And I too have absolutely heard and seen that whole keep politics out of the outdoors. I come here to relax, blah, 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 that whole line 1,000 times. And I'm always surprised that people don't realize, first of all, politics is why these places where you paddle and hike and hunt and fish and climb, et cetera, every facet of life. This is why things exist. Roads, we could
keep
go
politics out of the outdoors until there's a government shutdown that can't fund where I want to go.
Right, exactly. Why is it understaffed? Why is there so much garbage? Yeah. Politics, okay? I think it's actually with these people, it's just about discomfort because their experience of the world and specifically the outdoors has so far been good and easy and comfy. How dare other people interrupt that and try to make them feel uncomfortable, right? Yeah. So to that, I say, first of all, why wouldn't you want other people to feel the same freedoms that you do, right? That's what I want.
My freedom. No, and you cannot have any of my freedom.
You can't have it. No, I mean, there's a great song, and of course, me being a music nerd, I'm going to bring it to music, that kind of sums this up. It's called None of Us Are Free. It was recorded by Ray Charles first, later by Solomon Burke. Even Leonard Skinner covered it. I'm gonna read a verse and a chorus. Publisher, please don't sue me. So it goes like this. Well, there are people in the darkness and they just can't see the light. And if we don't say it's wrong, then that says it's right. We got to feel for each other, let our brothers know we're here, got to get the message and send it out loud and clear that none of us are free, none of us are free, none of us are free if one of us is chained. All right, so, ruminate on that. Go listen. Solomon Burke's version is gorgeous. Anyway, before I get too nerdy about the history of protest music, which I would love to do, we've actually got somebody we've called in who is both deeply outdoors and in Minnesota who can speak to this on a different level. And that is friend of the pod, all-around excellent human, Lloyd Vogel, the CEO and founder of Garage Grown Gear. And we're so happy to have you. Thanks for joining us, Lloyd. I'm sorry it's for this.
Hey, thanks for having me. And that was an incredible email, especially from someone who used to. I mean, we are allowed to change as humans, and I think it is even more profound when people have radically changed their belief system over time. And I think it's important to acknowledge both what one has believed in the past and allow oneself to be able to grow and have the humility to be able to admit that one was wrong and have one's beliefs be able to change. Because, man, I hope that there are beliefs changing right now, because we need more middle-aged paddlers to have an epiphany that Black and brown lives in fact do matter, and that they are an important part of our communities and deserve to be able to experience the outdoors in ways that make them feel safe and affirmed.
Hell yeah, Lloyd. We love you. You're
And
so good.
Lloyd is coming in off the top rope.
That's right.
Know?
Okay, Lloyd is actually
Coming
our
in
new
hot.
co-host now. Sorry, Colin. Bye.
I know, I'm out.
But yeah, well, so before we get to the heart of middle-aged paddler person's question, you actually on the Garage Grown Gear Instagram I saw the other day, and I think on LinkedIn as well, but you posted about the ice raids and the killings and protests on the Garage Grown Gear Instagram, and you know, and then you posted, it was mostly about the resources, right, for people if people wanted to help. So I guess before we get into middle ages question, why did you decide as a company, you know, Garage Grown is like a deep part of the outdoor world. Like, why did you decide to put yourself out there on social like that?
Honestly, it just like felt like it would be disingenuous and cowardice not to. You know, I think about the ways in which we as outdoor leaders can set a precedent and set a tone. And, you know, I think about what is the largest ability for me as a person and Garage Grown Gear as a company to be able to make change. And that is by utilizing our reach. You know, we have a newsletter, we have an Instagram, we have a platform that people care about. So if we can leverage that to be able to support mutual aid here in Minneapolis, organizations that are on the ground helping people with the resources that they need, both food, rent, legal services, like that's what we want to be able to do, and that's for our community, that's for our staff, to let them know that you know, we're not just saying one thing and doing another, that we're really living our values. And you know, I think especially being based in Minneapolis, to not do this would be not showing up for people that we love and care about. And that's just like is not acceptable for us to be able to do as a business. And I think it is a rare, I mean, as a small business owner, you know, none of us are perfect or super well versed or trained in how to be able to handle situations like this. Like, we're all just trying to be able to do our best with it. And largely, I think it is what allows us to be able to feel good about our companies and our impact in the world, and allows us to be able to sleep at night. And I would not feel comfortable not saying something. And so even if that means that, you know, we have a bunch of unhinged emails that say to be able to keep politics out of the outdoors, or, you know, you lost a customer, you know, it's like, man, the statement that we put out was pretty milquetoast. It was kind of just telling you what time it was. Like, this is, you know, people are getting murdered in Minneapolis. People are getting illegally detained. Like, it's not subjective. Like,
right.
Like that is like objectively happening here. And to tell me that it is not, you can't gaslight me. I'm here. You know, I've been at the protests. Like, you know, myself and coworkers are volunteering on a daily basis to be able to improve the lives of folks that are having here. I mean, really just like trying to keep people safe. It's basic human rights. And if that feels political to you, great, but it doesn't have to. It also just is, you know, trying to care for one's neighbors, trying to keep people safe. And you know, I think honestly, it'd be pretty morally awful to not be in Minneapolis and care about these things. I don't understand how someone could not be emotionally moved by the things that you're seeing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
We should say that we're recording this on January 29th, and this episode will come out a week from today. And so hopefully by then, maybe some things are moving in a positive direction, or we don't know what will happen between now and then. But I think all of this totally applies. I will say the one thing, which is follow up, I wanted to mention on what you just said, though, Lloyd, is that the people you got those emails that you lost a customer today, I think there's a fair chance they were never your customer and they were just yelling at you.
Yep.
Or if they were a customer, I think they'll probably come back. They're just looking for a reason to be angry. That's my 2 cents, my impression of how people actually engage on these things. I
think you're right. Yeah. And I think in general, you know, listen, politics is a loaded word. I get it, blah, blah, blah. But again, your whole life doesn't exist. Like this, our modern lives don't exist without certain political frameworks to keep us safe. And when I think about like the very base level of things we should care about, I don't know, other people, the environment we all live in, seems pretty like low hanging fruit. So
you'd think so. I mean, even on like a very basic level, like even if you don't care about other people or about humanity, or
then you're a nihilist. And why are you listening to this podcast?
That's right. You know, I think it is something that like us as a community, the outdoor industry, the outdoor community is like a better place when it is more diverse. And if the most diverse voices in the community don't feel safe leaving their homes, how can we expect you to hit the trailhead? How can you be expected to be planning a trip when you're planning your route to avoid ice on your way home? And I think this goes back to all the narratives of like, why do people of color not necessarily always feel safe hiking long trails in the US, and having that be poo-hooed by like, oh, well, trails I've never felt unsafe. Well, it's like,
Nature doesn't care.
Yeah, it'd be like, well, have you ever thought about it from someone's perspective that wasn't, white and male?
Right.
And like, I think it's just like such a lazy take to be able to be like, well, I haven't experienced that. It's like, well,
so it doesn't exist.
Right. Being like, okay, is that how you approach everything in life? That if you haven't experienced it, it's not real? Cool. Like what an uncreative perspective on the world, and what a privileged, narrow life that you live, to not be able to see how broader systems of oppression affect people that are not you. And it just, it lacks some fundamental humanity that I think there's no way that one looks back in 20 or 30 years and doesn't clearly see who is in the right and who is on the wrong in elements like this. I mean, it doesn't even require a lot of creativity to paint the narrative of how this time frame in U.S. history is going to be reflected upon.
Right. Yeah, we have some blueprints for it, like within this own country's history and beyond, So I feel like, hey, people, learn from history. But yeah, also you losers. That's all. Yeah. But all right, well, let's get to this great letter, this email. So Lloyd, when you think about this person is asking specifically, like, what can outdoor people do to help? And then in general, like, basically, what can we do to be more active in protecting the things we care about? Like, what are your perspectives on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think a big thing is, and we've gotten this a lot too, is how do people from out of state be able to support what's happening in Minnesota? There's a couple databases of nonprofits that one can contribute to, from as much as like national wide orgs that are supporting work in Minnesota to mutual aid organizations that are on the ground. There's people that are scared to be able to go to work right now, and so there's folks that are behind on rent that don't have access to food that they need. And so there's very granular ways to be able to get involved. And if you all are willing to share some links, I can provide those over to you. But I think, the finances of it are huge. I think being able to write one's politicians, Minnesota, people here in Minneapolis, like there isn't a lot of division amongst people in Minneapolis about what's going on, but I think that there is uncertainty on a national narrative. And so even if you don't live in Minnesota, writing letters to politicians, letting them know what you think about what's happening in Minneapolis across the nation with ICE involvement, that's really important and really impactful. And I think, lastly, I think it's like engaging on places like social media, places like Reddit. It's supporting businesses and letting them know that you approve of this messaging that's happening, because that empowers more businesses to be able to take a stance. And in the capitalist society that we belong in, the power of the individual is sometimes less than the power of the certainly the big corporate entities, but also of smaller businesses. So I think it's just like whatever platforms that you have to be able to amplify the perspectives and humanity that you can share. Please do so. Like that for me was LinkedIn. A weird spot to be able to be
the king of LinkedIn.
This up. Thank you.
True.
But like that was a spot where like I was like, well, that's where I show up. How do I be able to talk about that? Maybe that's at a school board meeting. Maybe that's at your local knitting club. But just like letting people know what's on your mind and what's happening, sharing the stories that you're running into, so that people aren't just putting their blinders up and pretending like it's not happening.
Right.
So yeah, those would be my thoughts.
No, that's great. I mean, I think in general, anyone who's listening, be a more active participant in your life. Like, what are the things that matter to you in your community? What are the things, if you're a big angler, if you're a hiker, if you're a climber, whatever, what are the places you're going to? Think about it for a second. And whoa, somebody had to work to get those places to be protected so you could do these things. And a lot of these places, like I think about the PCT, that is not a fully protected corridor. So the PCTA, the PCT Association, is constantly working to try to basically secure easements and things like that. But easements are temporary, right? Someone else could buy that land and be like, you can't come here. And then a whole part of the trail is gone. So I think in general, people don't realize like how much effort has has to go in behind the scenes, whether it's politicians, nonprofits, and individuals asking like, no, I want you to protect this, or I want you to take care of this. And so figuring out where you can plug in, whether it is, giving to a moment like this. And Lloyd, by the way, I think you'd mentioned maybe on your, on the Garage Instagram, like, is it standwithminnesota.org? What is the website that is kind of collaborate? I think there's a website, right, that has a lot of different mutual aid. And
Stand with Minnesota is the that has like dozens of links for rent, mutual aid, food support. I mean, even as granular as pet support. We're having people who are being detained and deported whose like pets are just not cared for,
right.
Because that's the case with parents who are getting deported and trying to figure out how to be able to support their children. This idea and this narrative that it is just like criminals that are being detained is just ludicrous. I mean, there's not enough energy being put into making this be a for everyone who say like, well, we stand with law enforcement. Like, this is indiscriminate detaining and deporting of people of color. I have friends who are born in the U.S. that are South Korean who are carrying around passports because they're scared that their U.S. citizenship is going to be questioned by someone from ICE. And it's just unlawful things that are happening across the board. And Shawnté, to what you said, like, these are things that, public lands, we can take all these things for granted. And then you can be in a place like Minneapolis right now and just see one's rights and laws. And if they're not being followed and there's very little recourse, like what are you supposed to do? So this idea that like this can't happen is just like, well, it can happen. It is currently happening.
Right.
And we saw that with the execution of Alex Preddy. I mean, we shop at the same bike shop. There's a bike ride that will have happened, this past weekend when this episode airs. But like, this is not if he was a 37-year-old white man who lived in Minneapolis as an ICU nurse. This isn't some paid agitator. This isn't some some like crazy woke progressive leftist anarchist. This is some dude with a stable job, good income, who backpacks, who bikes. This is someone who looks like, I said this on a LinkedIn post, but this looks like someone who could be the marketing persona for anyone in the outdoor industry.
Yeah.
Right.
And if it takes the murder of someone who looks like you to get you involved, that kind of sucks. But like you'd like it's just to be able to see a whole bunch of brown and black people get deported and that be enough to be able to get you
right. That should have been enough for people to care. Yeah.
But if that's what it takes, like to some extent, Alex Preddy is like the everyman of the outdoor industry. And like, this is not something that just happens in a bubble. This can happen to someone who's just checking to see if someone is okay after they got shoved and then 30 seconds later is shot 10 times. Like this, I imagine that this happened so quickly for him that he didn't even know what was happening until he's lying on the ground dead. And that's a tragedy that cannot really be. It's hard to conceptualize. Sorry, a little emotional.
No, as you should be.
Why you're here.
Weird if you weren't emotional. Okay.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are emotional. And I really thank you. I'm going to thank the listeners who stuck with us, because I know this was an unusual question, but it shouldn't be. Like, we should all be asking these questions. Yeah. And yes, as quote outdoor people, we should be asking these questions, and we should be thinking a bit more deeply about our place in the world, our place in the greater whole, and how we can improve things. So Lloyd, I really appreciate you spending this time with us and coming on. And yeah, just like Colin said, I'm going to hope that things are better in a week's time. But I think we know that this is a marathon, not a sprint. And so people, everyone listening, find out where you can dig in. It's all overwhelming, but find one place you can dig in and do it. That's my advice. By the way, the website Lloyd mentioned is standwithminnesota.com. I don't think we ever got a full URL there, so I wanted to give that to y'all. And Colin, by the way, I don't want to alarm you, but I think Lloyd just stole the righteous fish shaking title from you today, although I think he absolutely deserves it for such a worthy topic. So I hope you're okay with that.
Shawnté, as the GOAT podcast, for those we established earlier in the episode, game recognizes game.
That.
No, game recognizes game. Lloyd definitely took the title today, and I endorsed Lloyd and his stance. Okay. And frankly, he deserves it. He's living what we are mostly reacting in horror to these days. Right. So I'm happy to have Lloyd come on the pod with us and shake his fist a little bit,
I know. Well, we have to have Lloyd back on for something, maybe not dealing with our constitutional rights. I feel like Lloyd is a longtime friend of the Rock Fight, the podcast that Colin jettisoned at the top of its game.
Yes.
And we love Garage Grown Gear. You've heard us do ad reads for Garage Grown Gear. I have a lot of Garage Grown Gear stuff in my house. Anyway, Lloyd, come back sometime. We love you.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll do more ads for Garage Grown Gear, Lloyd.
Yeah, while you're listening.
While you're listening. I'll be reaching out soon.
All right. Well, I feel like we kind of kicked things off with a pretty heavy topic. Maybe we can lighten things up. What do you have next?
Listen, this next one is the cure that you're looking for, and is very much on brand for Gear Abby.
Ooh.
Welcome back. Poop Corner has returned.
Poop Corner, poop. We need like a little jingle.
A little jingle, a little stinger. We can get our executive producer David Karstad on that.
That's right.
All right. This email goes, Dear Gear Abby, you want poop questions? I have one for you. I have on several occasions come across thru hikers who are clearly having an emergency close to the trail in an area where they couldn't get off the trail and do a proper LNT. That's leave no trace to you folks. Poop. Okay, I do need to pause. Several? Was this person cursed?
That does sound like a curse, doesn't
What the hell?
Even I have never. I've encountered. We'll get into this, but yeah, bless you.
I just started thinking, they're walking around like, oh my God, again?
Was it all in one day? Like, was it the same person? I kind of have some follow-up questions for
twice
you.
in one day? Okay, so they go on. What should the general etiquette be for those of us hiking past them? Pretend like they aren't there, talk loudly to cover up the noise, be quiet like we aren't there? It is an awkward situation. It is always an awkward situation. I feel so bad for these people who are experiencing an emergency. Also, what should I do if I'm ever in that emergency situation? What is the best practice like on the Whitney switchbacks where there is no cover? You're now got PTSD is what they kick in for Shawnté, where there's no cover and no way to get off the trail. If you gotta go, you gotta go. Signed, politely trying to navigate emergencies.
Well, we did, in fact, just do a very successful 180. So good job, emergencies.
I feel like, have you seen that trend on either on TikTok or Instagram Reels where there's there's a car accident and someone drives by and rolls out in the window and was like, hey, you can't park there? Which it kills me every time because it's such a dick move, but it's really funny. I feel like that's the response here.
Is
like,
that
hey, you can't do that here.
You can't park your poo here.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. Well, I have to say also, by the way, I appreciate that sign off very much. That is very creative. This is the level all of you should attain, strive to attain at the very least when you're writing in. But no
the
pressure.
The merging of words is encouraged.
Yeah. Oh, I love a portmanteau. I love a poo-manteau. Don't get me started. But yeah, listen, you're correct. I do love a good poo question, always. Although I can't imagine there's all that many left out there, but I know y'all are going to prove me wrong. So, deargearabby@gmail.com. So, all right, let's get into this. You already know Colin's take. So as Colin alluded to, this did give me a tiny bit of PTSD. It takes me back to an experience I had while hiking Mount Whitney. But no, it is not my one greatest outdoor shame or whatever that episode was, that question that person asked me about my poos. So here's the story. My friends and I had just reached Trail Crest, which is a pass that's about 2 miles from the summit on Mount Whitney. You're up there at almost 14,000 feet at this point. And as we moved into the next stretch of trail, it's completely exposed. It's all just granite blocks. And my friend, who is normally a deeply private person, announced that they had to go to the bathroom, and they just dropped trowel right there next to the trail.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, later on, in this person's defense, we had to take him to the emergency room because they had pulmonary edema.
No excuse.
Yeah. No.
Brain bleeding does not mean you could just poop wherever you want.
I don't think it was a poop. I think it was a pee, if I'm remembering right. But
okay.
I suspect cerebral edema. I'm like, I feel like it was more that, but whatever. Your lungs were bleeding and stuff. I guess it was pulmonary too. But anyway, the three of us that were not doing our business right next to the trail, we just looked away and honestly, what was it? Poop emergencies. The short answer here is that's what you should do too. Just keep on walking, my friend. Okay. Yeah. You don't need to engage with anyone who is pooping within earshot or even, I guess, eye shot.
Yeah.
Eye shot, just sight. And I'm going to guess 1,000 times over, they don't want to have to do anything with you either. Like they would have nothing to say to you. Just shh. You never saw it. It never existed. And I know this from personal experience. We're gonna dig up some more of my PTSD, no pun intended, because I once got food poisoning during a through hike. I waited it out in town for about 48 hours, and then I headed back to the trail thinking everything was fine. And less than 5 minutes up from the trailhead, my guts were on fire. Y'all know that feeling. If you've been there, you've been there. And the trail was located next to a main road. There were no trees until you got maybe like a mile up the trail. So it was just all low brush and scrub. And I just yelled at my hiking buddy, I'm like, turn away. And I crouched down behind the biggest bush with the best angle to kind of like hide me from people. And I just did my thing. It was such an awful feeling. I'm pretty sure I cried while I was doing it. Not my best moment. So listen, I have been that person. So what should you do if you have a poo emergency? What should you do? First of all, here's my general advice: is just think like an animal. Okay, move as quickly as you can away from the trail. Find something, anything that you can, and just get as small as you can behind it. I highly recommend the squeeze and run method. So start doing your butt kegels now. Colin is making a face like, well, yes, of course.
Yes,
I
of course. I mean,
them.
a strong pelvic floor is also advantageous. It's like it's a win-win here. It's like you're accomplishing two things. So yes,
it's true.
I endorse Kegels in all forms.
All Kegels. You can just try
Kegels.
with any orifice. Okay, I don't want to limit anyone.
And then you're
here.
ready for the sex question we got a few episodes back.
Oh God, true. And who knows which one we'll get next? But yeah. So if you need to, okay, like you're running up the hill, you're squeezing, you're waiting. You can ask if you've got somebody with you. Ask him to be a human shield and just stand between you and the trail, maybe hold up a tarp or a rain jacket or something. Or you can even try doing that for yourself. Hold something in front of you like a magic curtain. You are the Great Wizard of Oz. I'm definitely not pooping back there. I mean, you are essentially doing the outdoorsy equivalent of those people who pull over on the side of the road and just like pee right next to their car, trying to hide behind their door. So, if you're feeling especially exposed, you got to keep lookout, okay? If you spot anybody, just yell out something like, I have diarrhea, okay? No one's going to come
Put that
closer
on a
if you
t-shirt.
That's going to be the first item in the Gear Abbey merch line. I know we've talked about other options, but it might be that.
I listen to Gear Abbey, and I have diarrhea.
And I have diarrhea. Yep. Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll get, maybe we can get Imodium to sponsor us.
That's a great idea, actually.
We need to go into big pharma now. Oh, man. All right. So if it happens, just do your business, clean up as quickly as you can. Like this is where wipes come in handy. Just whoop, shoop, shoop, get one of those, what are the Code Brown kits from?
Butt napkins.
From butt napkins.
Yeah.
And then
invented exactly for this scenario,
exactly
it sounds
for
like.
this. Seriously. Do a proper burial unless you're somewhere like Mount Whitney where you're not supposed to bury it. You got to pack it out. In that case, hopefully you were able to get your wag bag out in time. If not, you're going to have to find a stick or a rock and just scrape it in there, okay?
This sounds like the case where, the bidet is for the trail and less for you, Like it just
yes,
sort of like,
yeah.
right, there's not
Spray
a
it
lot
down.
to bury or or pick up, unfortunately.
Yeah, try to leave no trace. Like
do your best.
Do your best. That's all. Just do us all a solid, and that is not a pun that I intended, but just deal with your solids. Okay?
Couldn't do yourself a solid, so do us one, please.
That's right. All the solids need to be dealt with on this trail. But listen, we've talked about this before. I think when we were answering that really fantastic Sharts question from a few months ago. In the end, like you said, poop emergency or poop emergencies, multiple, because you apparently experienced multiple. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Shit quite literally happens. So don't be embarrassed. Just go in a, maybe a fugue state and pretend you're a marmot or something, just doing what's natural, and you'll get through it.
Yeah, I just have to come back to I have on several occasions come through this, look,
Is
I
that
can't.
haunting you?
It is a little, I really do feel like poor Poop Emergency here is having a tough go of it on the hiking trail, because I get it, hey, listen, like it happened to you. You're like, oh my God, it's happening. Now, if it's somebody who, if you can deduce in the moment that
I'm
pun
sorry,
intended
if you
there,
did what?
If you
did a deuce in the moment?
do a deuce, no, if you can deduce in the moment that they're not having an emergency and they're just too close, then I think you game on, embarrass the hell out of them. Like, hey, are you pooping over there? Like just like call them out.
Especially if they're your friends, yeah.
Oh, especially if they're
always
your friends.
Embarrass your friends on trail.
That's or anywhere.
I feel, I feel like I've returned to a state of like homeostasis. Like I'm at equilibrium right now because we had the poop question brought me back to my real self.
Right.
Yeah,
like
I
the
feel
problems
good.
of the world that Lloyd came on to talk about still exist, but it's
Still
a little.
exists,
I
still
feel a little
bad.
more grounded in our reality now.
Right. Great. Yeah. I feel weirdly zen. So thank you, Poop Emergencies, for sending in that very detailed and head scratching question. Appreciate you.
So the next time our president's in the news, you're just going to go on Reddit for poop stories because that'll bring you back
just to make myself
center.
feel better.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they're both shitty, aren't they?
Yes.
All right. So enough shit talk for today. Maybe we'll have something else nice to discuss. Colin, what do you got?
I think we're going to move from literal shit talk to just, like figurative shit talk here.
Oh, no.
Because this is one that I've talked about on another podcast. I'm excited to get your take.
The podcast you canceled?
I did at the top of my game. Dear Abby, I know it might be old news by the time you get to my question, but I have to ask. I'm a climber. I think you're a climber. She is. What did you think of Alex Honnold's Taipei stunt? I have strong feelings, like so strong that my husband and I got into a fight about it. LOL. Thanks. Is it Jana? Or maybe you can use Hanat. Yeah, it's all right. Good job, Jana. Hanat. I guess we know now where Jana stands.
I think we know
on
where
this.
Jana stands.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that is good. Now, I'm laughing not just at your sign off and your question, but because I know in my heart that Colin's actually going to get an opportunity here to reclaim his #1 fish shaker title in just a few minutes. Hope you enjoyed your short-lived but very powerful reign, Lloyd.
Very powerful.
So here's the thing. I'm kind of dying, just much like the last email where I wanted to know the details of how they just continually have these run-ins. I am dying to know the entire content of this argument. Like, I just want to know. I want to be a fly on the wall.
Folks.
Like, send me another email with that if you want. We won't read it. Maybe we will. But
Are you
at least...
I love when I see people arguing. Like, I just get real quiet because I don't want them to know that I'm paying attention. Like, oh my God, it's happening.
You don't want them to know you saw them shit talking.
Yeah, when my wife and I were first married, her brother and his fiance actually lived with us for a while. And anytime like we would argue, my wife and I, they would peel off and go to another room. And anytime they would start, we would kind of just shrink back and go like, shh, don't remind them that we're still here. I want to see what happens.
Oh my God, we're all humans. This is one of our little things. I think a lot of us have. This is why people watch reality TV, I think.
You're right, actually, yes.
I think it scratches that itch.
And which is apt because this was reality TV that we're talking about.
Yes, it was. Well, so let me here. Okay. I'm a climber. Yeah. You, like Colin said, yes, I enjoy climbing. I am impressed that there are humans who are both supernaturally strong in their finger parts, all their parts, and who are supernaturally strong in their nervous system, because my ass gets dizzy whenever I pull out one of those little step ladders to get something off the top shelf at home. And
Not good for your climbing career.
It's
okay.
I know that. Yeah, neither was my freaking arthritis. So I like watching people do incredible things that stretch the bounds of what we think is possible. But I do not like televised spectacles. It just does not do it for me. Like, listen, is Alex Honnold strong? Yes. Does he have an impressive capacity for endurance? Yep. Is he freakishly calm while doing things that would make most other grown folks cry? You betcha. Okay, but climbing a building live on Netflix with a bunch of people commenting like they're Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart at the Olympics? Come on. Is he Evel Knievel here? Like, what was this? I like, honestly, it was a stunt. Like you said in your email, Jana/Hanat. It was a stunt, and I could not have cared less. Like, there was no intrinsic value in this to me. And I am not even going to comment on the fact that he's a parent, he has a partner, their determination of risk versus reward is theirs alone to make. Just kidding. Their kids got zero say in it because no matter how much they might have tried to prepare them, they're toddlers who have no concept of mortality.
Yep.
I don't know if you read any of the comments, but I did. I saw one that said, to be orphaned because daddy chose to scale a skyscraper free solo would be tragic and embarrassing.
I agree.
Oh my God. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, he can do whatever the hell he wants. I am not the Alex Honnold police. I just think the whole thing felt kind of tacky. I don't know. Like, do I think there was a huge chance he was going to pop off that building at some point? No. But the entire Netflix special had an unspoken undercurrent of, but will he fall? And that to me feels like some weird Roman Colosseum deathmatch shit, like pandering to the worst of humanity's desire to watch train wrecks. See also talking about reality TV just a minute ago.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, that's what put me off the most. And on that note, actually thinking about this, since we like to give book recs on this pod, I highly recommend Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah, which takes the concept of this to a new and awful dystopian height. So absolutely recommend that book. But anyway, all right, Colin, I'm going to pass my Skyfish Shake baton over to you so you can reclaim it. What are your thoughts on this? I'm sure you loved it, right?
I was great. Just 10 out of 10, no notes. No, I mean, of course, like I agree with you. I mean, when we did the now defunct podcast I used to host called The Rock Fight, we did mention it. And my thing on that. Well, my thing on it was like everything you said, but it was, your point about it being tacky. Yeah, just like the way it was being promoted was gross. I mean, the trailer was oriented around, oh, he could die. And I'm like, yeah, like, with like Free Solo, the magic of Free Solo was that you knew, like, he's out promoting the film. Like, he lives, but you're watching it and you're still like, oh my God, is he going to make it, right? And it was completely the opposite of that. Now, I've sort of come around on it and from a different way, not personally in terms of my, like, would I want to see more of this or did I think it was great? No. But I've come around on, this was not for the outdoor community and the reason I've kind of come, right, it's like, and everyone, of course, in the outdoor space is commenting on it. I think we are the majority people who kind of agree with like our point of view, Shawnté, right? And clearly Jana Hanna, I can't say her name. Anyway,
no, we're so sorry.
The listener who wrote in.
Sorry, listener.
But it's listening to other podcasts, maybe more mainstream sports podcasts, and they're talking about it. And did you see it? It was amazing. My God, this guy. What did you see? He had a little, no joke, little bag on his back with like something in there that kept his hands dry. And it's like it's a good reminder that there's a good part, like a majority of the population that doesn't understand who Alex Honnold really is. Maybe they know him a little bit from the big movie a few years ago,
right?
And for them, this was an Evel Knievel stunt. This was David Copperfield making the Statue of Liberty disappear kind of thing. And we have the knowledge to know that, like, hey, the stakes here were real. And it could have gotten ugly real quick. I agree with you. I think there's like a 1% chance that he would have fallen. But still, if I gotta look at it from that lens, okay, sure, but the outdoor community, this was not for us. That was kind of where I kind of landed on it with this.
No, did you see he talked a bit in an interview about like what he got paid? It was something probably close to $500,000, if not a little more. He said it was mid-six figures.
Yeah, that seems low to me.
And then right. And he said in the interview, like, I know like something about how it was a low fee compared to what a professional athlete gets paid. I'm like, I feel like your family would have wanted more than that if you did fall.
Actually, now I'm actually mad because I'm like, dude, you should have gotten at least $1 million for this. I would have thought he would have gotten several $1 million because Netflix is involved. Like they have, like they're buying fucking Warner Brothers right now. Like they don't have the money to pay him. And by the way, it pulled really good numbers if you look at the ratings of it, and it was delayed a day because of weather, and it still had it was the third most watched TV show of the week. I heard that. Like, and that's when the NFL had the playoffs going on. And you only pulled like $500,000? And you could have died?
Yeah, he definitely got the short end of the stick.
But
I think he said somewhere, he's like, I would have done it for free.
Well,
all right, buddy.
That's probably true.
Go do it for free on some rocks.
Now then we complain about that too, because that's what we do.
Mostly you.
Good point.
I think all three of us that have been on today's episode have gotten our opportunity to fish shake. I feel good.
It's good, yeah.
I should do this more often. I feel like this is the
right?
second episode where I've done this. Something is boiling within me. It's just middle-age rage.
You can start an Instagram feed, Shawnté Shakes, where you're just out on your lawn, like shaking your fists at the clouds.
No. Oh, no. I don't know. I feel like that could go sideways real quick. That's, again, we'll just save that for the OnlyFans.
I love it.
All right. Colin, take us home.
Okay, last question. Dear Gear Abby, it seems impossible to get campsites or backpacking permits without planning months ahead, and I find myself spending less and less time outdoors. Well, that's silly. You can go outside without a permit in lots of places.
You're stuck in the house.
Right.
You may never leave unless you have a permit. I mean, that may be our future. I don't know.
But this person is not incorrect. It is hard to get these things. Do you have tips or tools that can help with planning, thinking camping, backpacking, bike touring trips, etc.? Signed, Escape from LA, which means, Shawnté, that Snake Plissken listens to our podcasts.
What the hell is a Snake Plissken? That sounds fake.
Have you watched Escape from New York? Kurt Russell, John Carpenter,
No,
and
I've
Escape
never
from LA?
seen it.
Oh
I've
my
never
God.
seen it.
All right. Well, we need to correct that
Sorry,
after we
Kurt.
figure out this Lord of the Rings thing.
All right. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to accomplish this year. We'll do our best. Well, listen, Escape from LA, which great. I'm glad you're trying to escape from here because I could really help with that. I feel your pain. I mean, we've talked about permits on the show before. If y'all remember, there was a person who needed help convincing their brother that permits were actually there for a reason. So we don't need to defend their honor again. But yeah, they could be a super huge pain in the ass, but you do have some options to kind of take the sting out a bit. So listen, if you've got some bucket list trips where you're like, I must do this thing, mark the date and time on your calendar for when those become available. It's usually a specific date or date range. And then set a reminder on whatever calendar thing of choice you use on your phone, whatever. For platforms like recreation.gov, which is where a lot of these things will live, you're going to want to be logged in and ready to go just before that time. So if the time is 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, like give it a practice go the day before just so you know how it works, and then be ready, 6:58. And it's going to seem for popular places, they're going to look like they disappear immediately. But something you need to know is there is a 15-minute time limit on checking out on a site like recreation.gov. And so if you just kind of linger and refresh, just see what gets released back into the pool, like some little Pavlovian rat, like boop, 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 refresh. You will have a good chance of getting something that someone did not finish in time. Or if they've got a friend also grabbing permits, they might text each other, oh, I don't need this one. So stick around for 15 minutes and then go ahead and cry if you don't get it. If it's a lottery style permit, do everything I just said. Maybe not cry. I don't know. It's up to you, really. It's how you deal with emotions. But also mark on your calendar when unclaimed permits become available. So even for super popular places like Mount Whitney, there's people who end up not completing that registration process and they forfeit their spot. You don't get it if you don't finish the process. It's actually a 2-step process. So be ready to pounce. Second, check in frequently just to see if permits have been released, which is much more likely as people get closer to their dates and realize, like, I can't do this trip for whatever reason. But it can happen at any time. And this is a lot easier if you're just a single person, like one person trying to get out there, because it's generally easier to get one permit versus like 5. Still worth trying, but one is easier. I actually have hiked the JMT Numupoyo several times from Yosemite Valley, and that is considered the hardest permit to get for that trail. And 2 of those times, this is exactly how I got a permit. I just looked every day and got real lucky. So that could be you. I was trying to do a Colin, but that's my voice.
That could
I can't
be
do
you.
That could be you.
That could be you. Is that what you're going
no.
for?
No, we need to do another What's in My Bag segment just so you could do that.
Don't worry. I'm ready for it whenever you are.
Okay. All right. Well, actually, I'm very excited. You know what? I did test something today.
Oh.
And then I'm going to test its counterpart tomorrow and then probably for a while. And then I'll do a What's in My Bag about it.
Should we tease the listeners that you also have some just coming?
Oh my God. I'm so, y'all.
Or
We're going to see about
bleep
this.
that so we don't reveal what it is?
Yeah, you should. You should just bleep. Now you got to bleep my second mention of it.
Yes, I will.
Okay. Lots of editing work for you, Colin, but yeah.
But I love
I'm
to tease the
pretty,
audience, so it's good.
Oh, I love to tease the audience. That's also for the OnlyFans. So anyway, back to permits.
Yes.
On a similar note, I would say there's a handful of services that have popped up that are essentially automated programs that constantly search for available permits and reservations, and they'll alert you if and when your chosen permit dates, and Trailhead becomes available. One of these sites is CampNab. That's NAB, campnab.com, which scans for open campsites and state and national parks. And that's both the U.S. and Canada. So, if you want to get out of the country, go ahead. There's also wildpermits.com, which allows you to set email alerts for when permits for selected dates and trailheads are released. And there's another one that is new to me called outdoorstatus.com. I don't know who the hell
Sounds
named
like a
that.
dating site.
Outdoor status.
What's
My
your
status is pooping alongside the trail.
That's right.
That's where you can find your special somebody who's ready to clean up after you. Someone has that kink, okay?
Oh, for sure.
Maybe they've already found each other in this life, but if not, go to outdoorstatus.com.
Maybe that's why this person earlier, like that's several times. They're seeking, like, oh no, it happened again.
Oh, no. I
Darn.
wonder if anyone will stop and help
Take
me.
your time.
Oh, poor outdoorstatus.com. Whatever. They're actually focused on wilderness permits. And I did like on their website, while I was not able to do any matchmaking for myself, I was able to see they will show you kind of upcoming permit release dates and date ranges right on the landing page, which is really great. So yeah. Also, okay, here, listen, consider some alternate routes to get to where you want to go. So somewhere you're in Southern California here, if you're going to the Sierra, there's a lot of different ways to get to cool places inside the Sierra. So if you can't get the trail you want, look to see what trails connect. And this goes for anywhere, okay? If you want to hike somewhere on the East Coast or Colorado or wherever, see what other trails maybe connect or go into the area you want to be in. So yeah, I'd say sometimes just do an extra, if you can fit an extra day of hiking in by using a side trail and it makes it easier to get a permit, it's totally worth building that into your itinerary. But I'd say like the last thing is just start a different bucket list, okay? Places that don't require permits. You can have 2 bucket lists. One bucket list is the impossible bucket list. One is the very possible bucket list, okay? State parks, national forests, BLM lands, places that allow you to self-issue at the trailhead, even places where you might need to get a permit ahead, but there's no number, like no cap on them. So I'll give you a few examples. You live in LA, it sounds like. One place I go this time of year that has a super simple permit process, and it's actually a very new permit process, Joshua Tree National Park. The only permit there that's even moderately competitive is for one of the designated sites on the Boy Scout Trail. And I looked at reservations there, even on weekends right now, there's still plenty of those spots available. So Death Valley is another park that has a super easy system. I mean, people very rarely backpack there, but you can. Anza Borrego Desert State Park has no permit requirements. I mean, much of the PCT in Southern California, no permit requirements, okay? So this is going to be the same for people across the country. Look at what you have around you. It's not just national parks and these big like Instagram famous places that are worth getting to. I guarantee you have beautiful state parks by you, okay? You might even have some real nice county parks. You might even have some beautiful national forests and things like that. Like look and expand your mind a bit. National monuments, I don't know. Like open your mind, think beyond the must-sees that everybody foams at the mouth about, because there is just so much beautiful stuff out there. And that is, see, look, we're ending on a high note, like a real positive.
No fish shaking here.
No fish shaking here, just encouraging you to open up.
That's what I was going to ask, right? Because, look, I get it. If you have like a bucket list saying, I want to climb like Mount Whitney, for example. It's the highest peak in the lower 48.
I know you
all
don't,
that
though.
Thing.
Don't lie. Why are you lying to the listeners?
But, I mean, actually, I do. My buddy Jake
Do
lives
you
in
just want
Colorado.
to poop along the trail?
Well, I definitely want to do that.
I
I got to go meet up with the person I met on Outdoor Status, but who's into it. But like the second highest peak in California, which is Mount Williamson, and it's only like 200 feet lower than Mount Whitney. But also requires a permit. I would guess it might be easier to get a permit to go up Mount Williamson than it is. And it looks like if you Google it, right, it's like 26-mile trip. I mean, it's very similar probably ordeal to climb Mount Williamson as it is Mount Whitney. So maybe, I don't know.
It's a different, maybe that's not the best example of a
okay,
peak,
well, still, like the point being, to your point, is like look around. Don't get
maybe Mount Langley.
Yeah, there you go. But just the point being, like, look around and there's so much stuff. And probably a lot of places don't even require a permit. I love Anza Borrego as an example. That's not too far from me, and I love Anza Borrego. That's so great. No, there's no one. The San Rafael Swell in Utah. I was there on a bikepacking trip, and we're all like, how is this not a national park? This place
Creek
is
State
ridiculous.
Park in Utah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I went there during COVID, and I was like, how do people just cram? And the national parks there are beautiful, but there's so much incredible stuff around them.
Right.
So, yeah, you'd be surprised. I think just open up, create that second bucket list, and if you find anything good, invite me along. Maybe invite Colin, you know. Actually, don't. I was just kidding. You can invite Colin.
Don't back off of that. That was a good burn.
No, I actually meant it. So that's it for this episode of Gear Abby. Until next time, send your burning questions and your camping invites to us at deargearabby@gmail.com. I'm going to do my best to answer them, or I'll find someone else who can. And of course, head over to... I'm a vampire
Horse is a
now.
horse, of course.
Oh, I used to watch that Nick at Night. head over to your podcast listening service of choice and subscribe, rate, and review to support the pod and make my day. If you like Instagram, we're over there at Gear Abbey Pod. In the meantime, today's episode was produced by David Karstad and this guy, Colin Shrew. Art direction provided by Sarah Gensert. I'm Shawnté Salabert. And remember, there are no dumb questions, just smart advice.
Finger guns.
Finger guns.
Fight!